Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the online data portal from the FAOSTAT that you'll be using in your homework this week. There's a lot of information inside this portal, but we're going to be using it for some basic data comparisons. So let's start at FAOSTAT Home. First, we're going to click on the Explore Data button, which takes us to the data page that describes all of the available data sets for comparison. You can see that FAOSTAT provides many opportunities for exploration, including crops data, livestock data, energy consumption information, population, and economic indices. But for this assignment, we're going to be taking a simple approach. However, once you've completed this assignment, I encourage you to spend some time on the data set and explore all that it has to offer. So for this assignment, we're going to look only at production data, specifically crops. This crops page takes us to where we can see three tabs, including download data, visualize data, and metadata. The download data option allows you to download table data for your own use. The metadata option allows you to look into the sort of background information on how the data were collected. It provides descriptions of units, and it clarifies a lot of different terminology. So if you ever have any questions about the meanings of certain terms in the FAOSTAT dataset, I encourage you to look through the metadata. However, for this assignment, I just want to look at the data rather than downloading it, so I'm going to click on Visualize Data. The Visualize Data page allows us to look at a single crop and see how much of it is produced and where it's produced across the globe. As you can see, FAOSTAT provides information on many different crops, including quinoa, raspberries, potatoes, pineapples, pretty much anything you can think of. But what we're interested in today is coffee. And so what we can do is either scroll around through the drop-down menu to find it, or we can simply type in the crop of interest. And what FAOSTAT has data on is green coffee. And this is coffee that obviously hasn't been roasted yet. So I'm going to leave the country setting to globe, to world, but I really want to know who's been the largest coffee producer in the world between 1970 and the present. So I'm going to set the time period using this drop-down menu. And the most recent data set they have available for green coffee is 2016. So we're just going to go with that. And we're interested in annual averages here, and so that's what's presented. So first, we have a global map showing the average coffee yields produced annually from 1970 to 2016. And all units here are shown in metric tons. If we scroll down a bit further, we can look at the time series of coffee production between 1970 and 2016. This is shown in both area harvested in hectares, which is about 2.5 acres, and it's also shown in metric ton yields. Fortunately, for those of us coffee lovers, we can see that global coffee production shows an increasing trend over time. So as we continue down the page, we can see the production share of coffee by region. And what this does is show us the production share of different regions across the globe. And here we can see that the Americas produces the most amount of coffee of all the other regions worldwide at about 60%. And we can see that the least amount of coffee, nearly zero, is produced in Europe. And this makes a lot of sense when we think about the type of climate required to grow coffee plants. And lastly, if we look down further at the bottom left-hand figure, we can see the top 10 producers of green coffee beans between 1970 and 2016. Brazil leads the group at nearly 2 million metric tons of green coffee per year. And we can ignore this figure here at the bottom right-hand corner, as it doesn't really show us any information about coffee. So for this assignment, my major question has to do with which part of the world produces the most coffee. So I'm going to head back up to the production share of coffee figure and download it to submit with my homework. So to do that, I'm going to navigate to the three bars here in the upper right-hand corner. And here, if you click here, you have a few options of downloading different files. Be sure to download an image file that will be compatible with your assignment here. I'm going to save the document to somewhere where I can find it later. FAOSTAT also offers the option of downloading data tables if you want to pursue further research into this data set. So overall, the Visualized data set is a very useful tab, as we can look into the history of crop production, we can look into the geography of different crop production trends, and we can see overall which regions of the world are most productive for a particular crop. So let's go back to the top, where we will look into the Compare Data tab. This tab allows us to compare multiple countries and regions in terms of production of a particular product. So for my second question, I'm interested in learning about how the US compares to other countries in terms of hops production. Hops are used in making beer, they grow very quickly, and they're also a very nice landscaping feature. So first, let's say I'm interested in looking at hops production over the last 30 years. So we're going to use the slider tool and set our time period for that of our own interests. So I'm going to set it for 1988 to the present. Scrolling down a bit further, I'm going to click on Groups and select Production. Under my domains, I'm going to navigate towards crops. And again, if you're interested in livestock production data, this is where you would also select that here. But for now, we're going to look into crops. Now here's the option for selecting which countries we want to compare. I'm curious about how productive Western Europe is in their hops production as compared to the United States. So I'm going to select France, Germany, and then the United States. We can show the data in terms of area harvested in hectares, yield in terms of hectograms per hectare, or production overall in metric tons. I'm interested in yield, so we're going to go with that. And here's our drop-down menu of the many crops that we can look into for comparison, but again, we're looking at hops, so let's type that in. Then we click the Compare Data button, and look what we have here. So we have 3 different lines representing the hop yields across these 3 different countries. The United States is shown in blue, France is shown in red, and Germany is shown in orange. And we can see that generally the United States leads in their hops production, but there are a few years where that production is outpaced by France and Germany. So again, for this homework assignment, I'm interested in downloading an image file. So I will go back to the 3-line button here, click on it, download a JPEG image, and then I'll save it for somewhere where I can find it. So this is just a sampling of some of the things that you can find in the FAOSTAT, and we look forward to hearing what you've learned in your homework assignments.